Good morning. It is January 6th at about 6:15 in the morning. My name is Larry Cedar. I'm back with you for another session of scanning. Scanning is the practice by which you use the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. Now, I've done many of these sessions now, and we're going to try something a little different today. And this is per request of one of the followers of these videos. And I thought it was a good idea. I'm going to divide these sessions from now on into three different types. What I used to do was talk for a while about the theory behind scanning, and then we would practice scanning. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to have three kinds of sessions. That kind of session where we do theory and practice. Then I'm going to have another session where I just discuss theory. And then I'll do a third session, which is what I'm going to do today, which is just practice. So if you're new to scanning, and you're not familiar with the theory, you can go back to any number of my previous sessions and you'll hear plenty about the theory, but today we're just going to practice. So you can either just close your eyes and listen along, you can lie down, you can sit, you can watch the video, however you want to do it, but we're just going to practice scanning. And again, if it's confusing to you and you don't quite understand the basis of it, you go back to watch what I'll call theory sessions or theory practice, or in this case, just practice. But we're just going to practice today. So follow along. And if you're new to it, it's still going to be, I think, useful, even if you don't exactly understand the why and wherefore of it. But just go ahead and follow along. So we start each scanning session with what I call the preliminaries, which is deep breaths followed by stillness and silence. Deep breath followed by stillness and silence, absolute stillness and absolute silence. And the only thing I will say is that we're moving ourselves into an expanded state, from contraction to expansion. Deep breath. 15 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. Here we go. It's important that you not move a muscle, but that you continue to breathe. 15 seconds. Deep breath. Just sit for a moment and register what, if any, changes you feel in your mind and body. And again, if you're just joining in, this is just a practice session. We won't be talking about the theory of scanning. Today we're just practicing. So do this again. Take a deep breath. This time you're going to sit for 30 seconds in absolute stillness and silence. Don't move a muscle, but continue to breathe. Deep breath. 30 seconds. Deep breath. And since this is just a practice session, we have more time because we're not talking theory. We're going to do this one more time. And this time you're going to sit in absolute stillness and silence for a full 60 seconds. Again, very important not to move a muscle, something we rarely do. Complete stillness, but continue to breathe. 60 seconds. Deep breath. Here we go. 60 seconds. Deep breath. So again, without getting into the details or theory of the practice, we're going to move right into the incremental release of muscular tension. We're using the muscles to guide our entire being into a more expanded state, contraction, expansion, because the muscles can only contract or release, make a fist release. We're using that ability to guide our muscles into an expanded state to lead our entire being into an expanded state, including the mind. So we're going to start with zone 1, the face. On my count, you're going to release whatever muscular tension you can feel in your face. 3, 2, 1, and release. And you may feel a drooping, dropping sensation. That scanning, that release, that muscular release is scanning. If you can experience muscular release, you are practicing scanning. We start with the face because it's easy to see and feel. 3, 2, 1, the face, and release. And again, and if it helps to stretch the muscles of your face and then go to a relaxed state so you can feel the contrast, do that. 3, 2, 1, and release. One more time, make a big wide face. 3, 2, 1, and release. You feel that dropping sensation? That's scanning. What we're now going to do is move the entire body. When you practice on your own, you cycle through. You do it once through, then you start again for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever you can afford to do. Zone 2 is the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. Look for any sensation of release. If you feel the slightest change from this, squeeze your hands together to this, you have scanned. We say incremental because even the smallest amount moves the dial towards an expanded state. Contraction, expansion. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. Sit for 10 seconds. Deep breath. Zone 3, the back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, 3, 2, 1, and release. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you're not feeling it, if you don't feel the contrast, work on an area where you can feel the contrast. As I said, the face, it's very easy to feel. 3, 2, 1, and release. You can see it if you look in the mirror. Some of these other zones might not be as familiar to you, but we're only looking for a slight change. On the count, focus your energy in that area. Gauge its level of contraction, and on the snap, release it. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. And you will get better and better at it. The study of scanning is the study of your musculature. And we're using the muscles because they have this binary function, contraction, expansion. That's all they can do, to choose expansion, which guides our entire being into a more expanded, relaxed, open, available state. Zone 4 is the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now, if someone's ever told you to relax, hey man, relax. You know how we tend to tense up because our tension is our protection. It's what guards us. It's our muscular suit of armor. So we're likely to say, no, I don't want to. I don't feel safe if I do that. But you're in control here. With scanning, you're in total control. You can release the musculature as you see fit, even if it's just, as I always say, 1%. So if you feel resistance or hesitation or nervousness, that's natural. To be held, to be contracted is our natural self-protected state. We're working against that. We're trying to make our body relaxed and open. But you're in control, so there's no risk. You can stop at any time. But try to release that muscular tension. Again, the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. And you may feel other parts of your body follow suit. The body is of a piece. It's one whole piece. We can divide it intellectually into sections. But when you relax your face, your foot feels it. So you may relax your neck and feel your shoulders drop. You may relax your neck and feel your feet tingle. So just be aware that all we're doing is picking entry points, but it's all connected. The neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Into zone 5, the shoulders, let them drop just 1%. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. You may find that as you begin to release muscular tension, you have a desire to breathe. We tend to hold our breath as a means of self-protection. And when we start to feel safe, when the body begins to relax and let down its guard, the body also feels safe to breathe, to inhale the oxygen it's been depleted of through this holding of the breath. So take those breaths. The breath is as much a part of the expansive process as is the muscular release. The more breaths, the better. Let the shoulders drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. 15 seconds, stillness and silence. So what we're doing here is it's as if you want to enter a room. Now you have several ways you can enter the room. You can take a battering ram and smash down the door, which is disruptive and frightening and terrifies the people inside, and you'll, I'm sure, receive a great deal of resistance from those people. Or you can tap lightly on the door, knock lightly on the door, asking for entry. Just tap, 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 very gently. And that's what we're doing. We're gently releasing muscular tension. The room we want to get into is a place of complete expansion, awareness, relaxation, comfort, openness, joy. Tap gently. Take the time to slowly enter this room. Being in a hurry, being in a rush, grabbing at something is a function of contraction. We want to expand, gently open. The shoulders, let them drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, the shoulders, let them drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. So each one of these steps is a light knock at the door. And like I say, you can scan for 15 minutes, you can scan for a half an hour, you can scan for an hour. The point is to stay with it, gently, 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 persuading your body to let go, let go, let go. We spend most of our life contracted. It can be very challenging to convince your body to release, to let go, slowly. Zone 6 is the entire torso, the chest, stomach, front of the waist, and back. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the entire torso. 3, 2, 1, and release. And what you're doing in the process of scanning is you're studying. Scanning is a very individual process, individualistic process, highly customizable. You know your body better than anyone in the world. I couldn't possibly know your body or how it works, excuse me. But you know your areas, your particular areas where you get particular tightness. You know your areas of fear. There are some people who you can't touch their neck. They'll jump through the roof, or their back, or their head, or their hands. You know where you hold your tension, and those are the areas where you'll experience the greatest resistance. So I recommend you focus on those areas, but if it's too frightening or too uncomfortable, focus on other areas. It really doesn't matter. Again, zone 6, the torso. 3, 2, 1, and release. And if you find yourself saying, I don't understand, what does that feel like? Exactly. You don't know. You're out of touch with your body. So you're familiarizing yourself, or refamiliarizing yourself, I should say, because we were born knowing how our body felt, but we began to build up these defenses. You're refamiliarizing yourself with your body, how it works, how it feels. Study that. See what happens when you release muscular tension. Did you get scared? Did it feel good? Study, study, study. Zone 6, the torso. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a breath. Before we go on, let's just review the face. 3, 2, 1, and let it drop. Top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. Back of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. The neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. The shoulders, let them drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. The torso. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. 15 seconds. Deep breath. If at any point in this process you find yourself forgetting what you're doing or why you're here, or completely lose the desire to move forward, that's frequently a side effect of expansion. Contraction is forming ideas, plans, words, theories, practices like scanning. As you begin to become expanded, you let go of those ideas. You don't feel like it's so important to hold on to a plan, to an idea, to a concept, to a theory that loses its relevance or importance. So you may forget why you're here. You may not care all of a sudden. You might just be in a place of nothingness. That's an expanded state. So look for those signs. If you start to go, I don't really care what I do for the next 5 minutes. I'm perfectly at peace and comfortable just sitting here. That's an expanded state. I always say that the practice of scanning is almost contradictory to the goals of scanning. What you want is a place of nothingness. What I'm giving you is ideas, practices, techniques. Now these are useful tools to get to that place, but once you get to that place, let them go. That's why I always say it doesn't really matter what you call this process. The point is to get to this expanded place. You say I lost my train of thought. Fantastic. Because it didn't matter. Place of nothingness, no thought, is the goal. Zone 7 is the pelvic region. Don't think about it, just release. 3, 2, 1, and release. And you'll begin to discover what that feels like to release muscular tension in each of these areas, but particularly in the pelvis, where there tends to be a sort of clenching. It's an area of great sensitivity. So on my count, maybe unclench on the pelvis. 3, 2, 1, and release. And that includes the sexual organs and the areas of waste elimination, very sensitive areas. So just see what it feels like to drop your guard in those areas. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. And again, very important to explore these zones on your own. Get to know yourself, your body. Get to know what's scary to you, what feels good to you, what it feels like to release 1% of your tension, 5%, 10%, 100%. Study, 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 study. Practice, 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 practice. Zone 8 is down the legs, across the knees, and into the feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. You may feel a tingling, a throbbing, a warmth. This is as you release the tension, the blood flows more openly, and you'll feel all of those sensations. The feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. By using a physical approach, we are eliminating a thinking approach. I always say you can't put your full concentration into releasing muscular tension and think about something at the same time. They're mutually exclusive, and this is what I discovered and how I developed this technique. I found that as I was releasing muscular tension, I stopped thinking about things. Now, initially, there'll be a war. You're trying to release muscular tension, your mind wants to keep going into a contracted place. That's words, thoughts. Your muscles, your body are taking you into an expanded place. So you have this tug of war. And often when I'm scanning, I'll spend an hour, letting go of all that thought until I come to a place of nothingness. But take the time. Time is a function of contraction. It's a division of our existence into weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds. It's arbitrary. We decided it. But as you move away from a contracted state, time doesn't matter. The division of time doesn't matter. There's only now. So if you feel like I haven't got time for this, or I'm in a hurry, or how long is this going to take, you're thinking in a contracted manner. Time is a contracted process. You're thinking of a contracted process. As you begin to become expanded, time will no longer matter. It won't matter if it takes 5 minutes or an hour. It won't matter if you quote unquote wasted your time, because time won't matter. Now you can't live that way. You have to live by a schedule and a calendar. You have to keep a tab of days times weeks. This is how we function in the world. This is a factor of a contracted world, which is what this is. We have to live in our world. But when you're moving away from that as a way of bringing yourself into balance, contraction, expansion, balance, Start letting go of those things. If you feel resistance, that's your contractive self holding on to those functions of time. As you start to let go, you'll stop paying attention to time. You'll stop watching the clock. You'll stop thinking about how long have I done this. It won't matter. It won't matter. That's an expanded state. Let's run through all the zones. The face, 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, a drooping sensation. You could spend some time just looking in the mirror and watching. 3, 2, 1, and release, okay? Zone 2, the top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 3, the back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 4, the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Zone 5, the shoulders, let them drop, 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 6, the chest, stomach, front of the waist, down the back to the waist, 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 7, the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. Down the knees, across the legs, down the knees and into the feet, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Sometimes someone will come in the middle of one of my sessions, and then later they'll say, oh, I was watching one of your sessions, I don't get it, you weren't doing anything. You weren't doing anything. Well, doing is a contraction. It's the decision to make something happen through a series of pre-arranged steps. That's what this session is here. It's a contraction, but it's a necessary tool to break through to the other side. There's a funny expression, doing nothing. Doing nothing. Doing and nothing. Contraction, expansion. When you are doing nothing, you've stopped doing. You've stopped contracting. You're in a place of openness, nothingness. It's timeless. It's wordless. It's silent. It's still. There's no activity. There's no goal. There just is a state of being. That's an expanded state. And again, we live in a 99% contracted world. We think we do. We give ourselves names, careers, bank accounts, houses, relationships. Those are all the bringing together of materials and thoughts. But when we become overly contracted, we become restricted. We become impermeable. We become resistant. And when that's when we're out of balance. And this is when you'll reach for a drink or smoke a joint. You know you need to expand, so you'll use a chemical expansion to let go. Well, this is a natural way of letting go. Using the muscles, the incremental release of muscular tension to bring you to a more expanded state, and then ultimately back to a centered place, a balanced place. That's where you want to be, so you can do both. Deep breath. And it's that simple. That's the practice of scanning. That's the practice of scanning. I'm going to say almost a half an hour. So again, this session was more about practice than theory. I threw some theory in, I couldn't help myself. But learn to practice on your own. And I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I experience great periods of frustration when I know I'm overly contracted. I know I should be turning off the internet and the TV. I know I should be letting go. I know I should stop looking at my phone. These are all very contracted processes, and I go to war with myself because I also know, on a deeper level, after practicing this for many years, that I'm out of balance. I'm overly contracted. I feel bad. And when I can wrangle myself to sit down or lie down and begin the incremental release of muscular tension, even if it takes me a whole hour to break through, I do let go. Ultimately, I let go. And all the things I was worried about, all the ideas and thoughts my brain was holding on to like a muscle, a contracted muscle, because that muscle too begins to relax and release, they floated away. And however important these issues that were bothering me seemed at the time, they no longer seem so important. They haven't gone away, but I'm not as afraid of them. I'm not so guarded. I'm not so held. I'm not so contracted. I have a clearer mind. And I'm able to return to approach these issues with greater calm, clarity, openness, and joy. So that's all it is. The incremental release of muscular tension. We start preliminary phase with deep breaths, stillness, and silence. Deep breaths are expansive. Stillness is expansive because we're not doing. Silence is expansive because we're not speaking or thinking. We then move into the incremental release of muscular tension. If you ever need to remember what that is, squeeze your hands together, 3, 2, 1, release. That's all we're doing. We're becoming connoisseurs of muscular release. And study yourself. See where you hold your muscular tension. And pick the areas that are most accessible. Because you want to begin whatever means it takes to start releasing muscular tension. If it's a matter of making a fist and going 3, 2, 1, release, I did it, I scan. If that's a way to start yourself, do that. If the face is easiest, do that. Approach the more difficult areas of tension further down the line. If your neck is particularly tight, save that to where you've already started to release other parts of your body. But ultimately, stay with it if you can, for at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you can do an hour, that's great. I use it to go to sleep. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I use it to get myself back to sleep. I also do it in the morning when I wake up before I get out of bed, because as you know, we sometimes get out of bed feeling very cranky, tired, just slow. You'll find a lot of that is muscular tension that has accumulated over the course of your night's sleep. And if you can lie in bed and scan for 15 minutes, even half an hour, you'll find that when you get out of bed, you'll be much more relaxed. You'll have much more energy. Contraction takes energy. It's restrictive and it burns energy. So that's why we feel exhausted. And again, we'll take a chemical expansion like coffee to stimulate our system to get us to open up so that we feel we can function in the world. But you don't need to do that. You can release muscular tension. So start to make it a part of your day, a part of your life. Very simple to learn. If you know how to make a fist and release, you've learned scanning. It's more challenging to get yourself to start and to stay with and practice, but the dividends are huge. That's it, scanning, the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. And I just had an idea. I just realized, I think what I'm going to do in the future is give my theory, as I'm doing now, towards the end of the session. So if you just want to practice, at the beginning you can. If you want to learn more, stick around and I'll tell you more. That's it. Thanks for visiting, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.